In 1975, the entire United States seemed to pause at the sound of a crystal-clear voice and the sight of a rare silver-haired woman named Emmylou Harris. Yet few knew that to earn the profound respect she has held in the music industry for more than 55 years, Emmylou had to trade it for deep emotional wounds and unimaginable loss. She is one of the very few to rise to the top without a single stain on her reputation in a showbiz world full of traps and temptations. What shaped such an extraordinary icon? What secrets lie behind the spotlight that the public has never been told? Do not miss the most private photos and the untold story of Emmylou Harris's life. Before we dive deeper, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Grab yourself a warm drink, maybe a cup of tea or just water, and sit back as we begin this journey together. Emmylou Harris, a legend of country and folk music, has a childhood and life filled with surprising turning points. No one could have predicted that her journey would transform her into a shining star. Ever since she was a young girl, Emmylou was a top student, always earning straight A's. She was smart, quick-witted, and incredibly talented. Everyone who looked at her assumed her future would be tied to prestigious, stable careers like law or medicine. Yet, in the middle of all those expectations, this young woman shocked her family and everyone around her by choosing a completely different path. Born into a family with no musical background, Emmylou grew up with an artistic spirit and a strong desire to express herself. Instead of following an academic path that others considered safe, she chose to pursue her dream of acting. Awarded a scholarship to the School of Music, Drama and Art at the University of North Carolina, she began that journey with huge hopes. At first, she believed she would become an actress. However, life's hardships and the demanding environment of the university brought her more challenges than she expected. During college, Emmylou had to juggle classes while performing at local clubs to earn money. She worked as a waitress just to get by. As tuition and living costs kept rising, acting began to feel further and further out of reach. Overwhelmed by pressure and exhaustion, she made a bold decision. She dropped out of school. When asked why, Emmylou admitted, "I was so tired of taking boring classes that had nothing to do with what I wanted to do with my life. Courses like Intro to Anthropology or Intro to Sociology just made me feel even more drained." Even then, her path didn't stop. After leaving college, she continued to follow her passion for the arts by performing at small folk clubs. That was where she discovered she loved singing far more than acting. Through every melody and every lyric, she found her voice and her identity. Although she still didn't think of music as a career at the time, her growing love for performing pushed her to dedicate all her time and energy to becoming a singer. Her early years did not lead her directly to country music. Emmylou grew up heavily inspired by the folk scene of the 1960, with icons like Leonard Cohen, Joan Baez, and Bob Dylan fueling her love for performing. Yet, it was her brother who opened the door to country music. He introduced her to legends such as Loretta Lynn, Johnny Cash, and Buck Owens. The fusion of folk influences and country roots eventually shaped the signature musical style of Emmylou Harris. Powerful, soulful, and deeply emotional. Everything began in the early 1970s when she started singing in small bars and clubs around Washington, D.C. Those were nights of performing for small but genuine audiences, slowly building her reputation, one show at a time. Around that period, Emmylou met Billy and Taffy Danoff, a duo who recognised her potential immediately. They did everything they could to help her make her first real breakthrough. Although their efforts didn't launch her straight to the top, they opened more doors and gave her more gigs. This became an important stage of growth, where she continued developing her foundation and shaping her own musical identity. One of the biggest turning points in Harris's life was her encounter with Gram Parsons, the American singer and songwriter. Parsons was captivated by her unique voice and felt a deep musical connection with her. They collaborated and performed together like perfect dance partners, effortlessly blending in harmony and feeling. Emmylou was more than just a harmony singer to Parsons. She was a true musical soulmate. She once said, "Once I started singing country music with Graham, there was no turning back. And indeed, from that moment forward, her path was filled with remarkable achievements in country music. After Parsons' sudden passing, Emmylou created a tribute album titled Return of the Grievous Angel, featuring covers from iconic artists like Beck, The Pretenders, and Lucinda Williams. It was her way of saying goodbye to someone incredibly important to her, but it also became a launching pad that propelled her career even higher. She continued to rise unstoppable, even in the face of painful loss. Not long after, Emmylou formed her own band and began performing regularly at the Red Fox Inn in Bethesda, Maryland. It was an exciting and passionate period where she built her team and perfected her live performances. It was also at the Red Fox Inn where she met Brian Ahern, a Canadian record producer who would become a vital figure in her career. In 1975, all of Emmylou's hard work and perseverance finally paid off when her album Pieces of the Sky became a major success. It climbed to number 7 on the Billboard country charts and captured the hearts of listeners across America. Soon after, she released Elite Hotel, an even bigger hit that went straight to number 1 and earned her first Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance. That was the moment Emmylou truly cemented her status as a country music star. And from then on, she never looked back. In the years that followed, she continued to create powerful and beloved songs, each one reinforcing her distinct artistry and talent. Hits like Beneath Still Waters, Gold Watch and Chain, Save the Last Dance for Me, Pledging My Love, and If This Is Goodbye in 2006 remain unforgettable treasures for her fans. Unfortunately, Emmylou Harris was far less fortunate in her love life. The men who slipped into her heart always seemed to find new ways to tear her world apart. Let's rewind to 1969, when she was still a young woman full of passion and living the bohemian life in Greenwich Village, New York. It was there that Emmylou met Tom Sloom, the man who made her heart flutter and convinced her she had found her first true love. Within just a year, Emmylou and Tom decided to get married, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their lives together. In 1970, they joyfully welcomed their first daughter, Hai. It was a moment of immeasurable happiness, and a milestone in Emmylou's life as she embraced the sacred role of being a mother. Yet, like many artists, she faced a painful challenge, balancing a family with a rising career. Emmy longed to shine on stage. When her career began to take off, she found herself constantly travelling away from home and those she loved. She adored her family, especially little Harry. But her passion for music was too strong to ignore. The demands of her career created distance between the couple, and after struggling for some time, Tom filed for divorce. Their separation was finalised in 1971, and Emmylou began to learn the harsh truth that fame and domestic harmony do not always coexist. However, the story of Emmylou and her daughter Hallie did not simply end there. Even after the divorce, Emmylou wanted to bring Harley along on tour, hoping to create a little travelling family. But the road life and the chaos of the music industry made her worry about her daughter's future. Not wanting Harley to grow up in such an unstable environment, Emmylou decided to send her back to Maryland to be raised by her grandparents. Life on the road is no place for a child. It might seem like a Disneyland adventure, but it's not a way to live, she once said in an interview. It was a difficult decision, but one that revealed her deep love and sense of responsibility as a mother. In 1977, Emmylou met and married Brian Ahern, a music producer she admired. Although many doubted their relationship would last, the two followed their hearts. In 1979, they welcomed their second daughter, Megan, a new source of joy. Sadly, their marriage too became strained. Emmylou and Brian divorced in 1984, citing irreconcilable differences. She held no resentment. Yet, rumours circulated that Brian felt bitter, especially when only months after the divorce, Emmylou married musician and producer Paul Kennerly. This would become the longest marriage of her life, lasting nearly a decade. However, in 1993, they officially parted ways. Once again, Emmylou chose to walk her path alone, and from that point on became far more private about her personal life. Emmylou Harris's life has never been defined solely by her marriages or her stormy romances. She has also faced the difficult challenges that often come with fame. After her final divorce, Emmylou slowly stepped away from the bright spotlight of show business and made fewer public appearances. That did not mean her life simply faded into silence. In 2012, Emmylou unexpectedly became the focus of media attention when she was involved in a traffic incident on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. According to witnesses, she accidentally collided with another vehicle and then continued driving, which resulted in her being charged with hit and run. By law, drivers must stop whenever there is damage to another vehicle. Emmylou insisted she had no idea the cars had made contact. In the end, she agreed to compensate the victim with $5,000 and avoided more serious legal consequences. It was far from a pleasant moment for the singer, yet it also demonstrated her willingness to take responsibility when needed. At 77, Emmylou Harris still carries the radiant beauty of her prime, now accompanied by a joyful and spirited attitude. Her musical journey filled with emotional ballads, and that unmistakable voice has solidified her status as a true icon to countless fans. Still, from a young age, she had dreamed of another kind of spotlight, the silver screen. With a desire to explore that world, she tested herself in acting in 1988 with the HBO television comedy Baja, Oklahoma. She played a small role as herself, and while the film did not achieve the success she hoped for, Emmylou never allowed disappointment to hold her back. She saw it as an exciting adventure and a brief leap into a new world. In 2006, she returned to television with a minor role in the drama Big Love. Even though the part was once again small, it marked another appearance on screen. From these experiences, she realised that music was truly where her heart belonged. With more confidence than ever in her musical path, Emmylou continued to dedicate herself to unforgettable performances and songs, maintaining a special place in the hearts of country and folk music lovers. Through the years, her voice has grown richer, more soulful, and even more mesmerising. Fans cherish every moment she steps on stage. Today, Emmylou lives in a beautiful home in Los Angeles, enjoying her golden years, surrounded by the warmth of family and the joy of being both a mother and a grandmother. Even at 77, she cheerfully says she still feels like she's in her 50. Her life is fulfilled both personally and professionally. With an estimated net worth of around $15 million, she enjoys a life of comfort and peace of mind. She occasionally keeps an eye on the music world from afar and always holds pride in what she has accomplished. Though she no longer appears on stage as often as she once did, fans continue to hope that someday Emmylou will make a dazzling return to the spotlight. Just like in her glorious days, the memories of a gifted artist with a deeply emotional voice and remarkable contributions to music will forever remain in the hearts of those who love her. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Every single subscription is a huge motivation for me to continue creating more meaningful and entertaining content.